I gotta say, this has been one of the better episodes in a long time. It just had an old school 80s slasher vibe to it. This episode, like the previous one, was exclusively to AMC's timeline, but there are a couple nods to the comics in it, so with that, I think we're checking out Nerd Nation's The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 10, Show to Comic. This episode was split between two stories, Beta tracking down Gamma and Alpha tracking down Daryl. Since Alpha is dead at this point in the comics and Daryl doesn't exist, we can ignore most all that scenario. There are a couple things though worth mentioning. It's worth noting that the Whisperers getting injured by someone in the Coalition and then immediately eaten by their Walker Guardians has also happened several times in the comics. Like in this episode, where a Whisperer is shot with an arrow and screams, attracting walkers to devour him. Also such happens in issue 155 of the comics, when Michonne cuts the arm off a Whisperer who screams and attracts walkers to devour him. Also, Lydia talking about stepping up and leading the Whisperers was a wink to issue 160 of the comics.
They're waiting for you to lead. They're waiting.
In it, the Whisperers... Hold on. In it, the Whisperers launch an attack on the hilltop. Alpha was killed, so they set out to retrieve Lydia so she can take her mother's place, as mentioned by an invading Whisperer just before he was silenced for good by Lydia. The reason the big spoiler alarm went off is because this invasion is confirmed to happen in the show either towards the end of episode 11 or all of episode 12. Also, Alpha's still alive in the show, and this kinda hints that she might not be alive for much longer, so make sure to be on the lookout for that video when the episode drops. Before we move on to the next scenario, take a moment to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I can wait. Using hidden tunnels finished by Dante, Beta is able to sneak into Alexandria to stalk his one letter up prey. With the help of some less than willing Alexandrians, he finds his way to Gamma's cell. Then later things really heat up and finds its way into the bedroom. Too young to consent, Judith politely asks him to back down, and after she escapes, Beta springs up and captures his prey. Rosita steps in and squares off with the hulking monster. He eventually gets away with Gamma, but their moonlit stroll is rudely interrupted, bringing the scenario to an end. Alright, so right off the bat, no Whisperer ever infiltrates Alexandria, including Dante, who is not a traitor or a doctor. But he was incredibly horny for Maggie, so there's that. The whole tunnel concept was created just for AMC, and I actually liked it. It gave more of an impact on Dante's role there, giving conclusion to why exactly he would kill one of his patients for no reason. This also leads us to wonder, what else did he do during his time there? There were two parts of this concept though that gave a nod to the source material. First, the fight with Rosita and giving her a few good slashes. This was a nod to two parts of the comics. The first one, her getting injured by Beta, was a wink to issue 154 of the comics, where Michonne and Aaron cross over the border and search for Negan. They're caught by Beta and his crew, and it's Aaron who's knifed, but with much more damage than Rosita received. The actual fighting though seems to be inspired by issue 155 of the comics, where he fights Michonne after Aaron is taken out of the game. He does get the upper hand and leads us to the second scene inspired by the comics. Later on in this episode, Beta is taking a captive Gamma back to Alpha when they're ambushed by Gabriel and his crew, causing Beta to flee into the woods. This rescue and ambush was also inspired by issue 155 of the comics. Right after Beta defeats Michonne, he has her held down and is going in for the kill. Just before he can though, Dwight and his crew appear out from the woods to rescue both her and Aaron. They kill the other Whisperers, but Beta does manage to escape in the woods, living to fight another day. There you have it. While nothing directly adapted from the comics in this week's episode, there are definitely some pages that seem to have inspired the script. Did you enjoy the more horror movie theme from this week? Next episode will likely be a direct adaptation from a big event in the comics, so I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for checking this out, and until next time, keep on walking.